So the final bit of senior action today here at the Luggy circuit in Italy, and the way the grid lines up for this one is going to be as follows. It's Luke Wilhelms, who is second quickest in qualifying yesterday, who starts this one from pole position after being put into Group B. Alongside him will be the championship leader we mentioned so far this weekend, a performance that was very much worthy of a good result here this weekend as well. He has maximum points. That's Piers Lehane, of course, in kart 206. Back on row 2 is going to be Brett Ward and Dennis Mavlinov, before row 3 is headed by Adrian Renadan and Rinus van Kalmthort. Back to row 4, we see the likes of Luke Varley and Nicholas Pico, and inside the top 10 for this one, Jai Najar and Sam Marsh. Back to row 6, we've got the likes of Joel DePuch and Jonathan Aberdeen. Row 7 has got Ollie Askew, who's again worked his way through the field in most of the races, and he's been there or thereabouts. So Ollie Askew could be a call for this one as well, from 13th on the grid. He has got reigning champion Harry Webb alongside, another man who's really struggled here in both of the heats. Let's see if the final one for him is going to be any better to round out his day here on Saturday. Row 8 then sees the likes of John Stewart and Louis Ferdinand Simonauer. To row 9 is then Luke Montfort and Maciej Shrupek. Row 10 sees Michael Stupinski and Agios Mlandrenos. And to row 11, the final row of this grid, Mick Bishofer and Richard Verschoor. The quick Richard Verschoor so far in the previous 2 heats. He should be working his way through, as we've said time and time again so far today.
Well, absolutely. We've had a message through on the social stream saying good luck to Richard Verschoor and Mick Bishofer. But both of them on the back row, unfortunately, so they're going to have to work very, very hard. But to help you through that, Kimberly Arnold has indeed wished you both the very best of luck.
Yep, and we pass on those messages to all the drivers as well. So good luck to everyone competing here this weekend. And, of course, keep those coming in. We'll do our very best to get those across to the circuit and, of course, to the drivers as well. But the seniors preparing themselves once again. Very, very open here this weekend. And we've had some fantastic racing from the slightly older competitors compared to juniors. And the seniors are about to put on another worthy performance of this Rotax Max Euro Challenge Championship. The final bit of weaving taking place there for Brett Ward and the likes of Dennis Mavlinov on row number 2. But Chris, we're about to go racing once again for 11 laps.
Absolutely. As we've said, that these guys really do go slow through this final part. They make sure they're in the correct order. We do have the front 2 making sure they're side by side early this time. We didn't quite have that last time. A bit of mind games possibly. And the lights go out and they are given the go ahead to start this 11-lap race as they head into turn number 1, and it's kind of pretty much sticking as you'd expect. Oh no, there is a couple of them that have made contact towards the rear, but it did just mean that they ended up pointing towards the grass but have been able to carry on. But 228, Luke Wilhelms has managed to make that pole position count and has carried it all the way through, but he's not managed to do any kind of breakaway at the moment, so they are pretty much line astern, probably at least 10 karts as they head down towards through turn 7 into 8, which is the left-hander. Head down to the first of the hairpins, which is turn number 9. They're still staying line astern. A bit further back, we've had a couple that have gone side by side to try and make some move early on, but not quite at the front. Or I thought we were going to have a bit of a challenge on our leader. But Luke Wilhelms actually has managed to make the most of this opening lap and has pulled out probably about a 3 or 4 car length lead. Over second position is number 207, Brett Ward. So it is that side of the circuit that has really counted. But Piers Lehane started on second. He's only down in third, even though he was on the poor side of the circuit. He is continuing to fight. Yeah,
and with that start there, I thought Piers Lehane, with the start he had, was monumental into turn 1. I thought he was going to go right around the outside, but he just lost out into the first corner. He now tries for second place, which he gets done on Brett Ward. So he goes for the move down at turn number 6, and he finds himself up into what's going to be second place there. So great move from Piers Lehane. Now starts to charge his way back towards the front in this race. Brett Ward drops down to third place. We've got Luke Varley up there in fourth. We've got Adrian Renadan fifth, and Dennis Mavlinov inside the top 6. But Piers Lehane now, after a slightly poor start in terms of being ushered wide at turn number 1, he's now starting to claw his way to the front once again as Luke Wilhelms comes through, still in the lead of the race with a 0.3 of a second margin ahead of Piers Lehane in second. And let's now see what he can do through these next few laps and of course through these sequence of corners as well.
Yeah, he's not hung about, has he, to close in on that leader. He could probably sense that Luke Wilhelms was just starting to make a little bit of a mini breakaway at the front, and when he was sat there in third position behind Brett Ward, it was probably going to just be sort of sitting, grating with him, making it too frustrating. But now, as soon as he's up into that second, look at this, he is right there, absolutely with him, but he has brought everybody else with him, hasn't he? So there's probably about 6 of them now vying for this lead. They head round the second of the hairpins, turn number 10, down towards towards the left-hander of 11, the right-hander of 12 as they bring it back onto the start-finish straight to complete their third lap. It is still Luc Willems in the lead, but Piers Lehane is desperately closing him down. He managed to go about a tenth quicker on that last lap, and you can see it. That is just visibly close. Look at that. He's taken a very tight line through turn number 3, and he's going to try and get the second complex right as they disappear down the back straight.
And Brett Ward's now got to be warned about what's coming from behind, because Luke Varley's on the attack as well. The man who sits in what's going to be 4th place is now catching the top 3. So watch out for Luke Varley in carts 2 on 5. We've still got Dennis Mavlinov and Adrian Renadan in 5th and 6th places. But look at this, as we've been saying, Piers Lehane catching Luke Willems hand over fist at the minute. The gap is down to a quarter of a second, and it's getting closer and closer now as he works his way through the hairpins down towards the last couple of corners at turns 11 and 12. And Piers Lehane, the championship leader, wants to get back to winning ways in the heats here at round 2 of the championship. He heads down towards turn 1. The bump in the roads, they negotiate that. There's some great scrapping going on a little bit further down as well, from probably 12th place backwards, with the likes of who we got in there: Rinus van Kaamthorpe, Nicholas Pico, Joel de Puig and Richard Verschoor from the back of the grid up to 15th place.
I was about to say that, Kimberly Arnold. You'll be pleased to know that Richard Verschoor has indeed got up to 15th position, and I don't think he's finished yet. He's desperately keeping that power on, and he's getting himself up to the sharp end of the grid. The sharpest end of the grid is still being occupied by Luc Willems, but only just. Look at this, all over the back of him. Piers Lehane is just trying to find a way. I don't know whether he's desperately just trying to find a way or pressurise Luc Willems into some kind of mistake, but I think that Luc Willems is possibly a bit more wily than that he's not just going to make a mistake. But as the drivers have been telling us, Matt, through these complexes just in front of our commentary box here, which is 2, 3 and then 4 and 5, is that they are the areas that are very easy just to get slightly off line, and it will have consequences all the way down the back straight.
It's a long sequence of corners as well, so if you make one mistake, it leads into the next as well. So, and then it's the most crucial part of this track, the back straight, where the slipstream is given away. So watch out now for a move from Piers Lehane. What can he do at turn number 7? Not quite close enough that time to Luc Willems, so he just still there in 2nd place, still on the tail, so no chance of Luke getting away just yet. And now with all this going on, it brings Brett Ward back into the mix as well in 3rd place, and I think 4th place man as well, which is now Dennis Mavlinov. So Dennis has moved ahead of Luke Varley, although saying that, I think Luke may have just got back into 4th. No, he hasn't. Dennis Mavlinov is now up there into 4th place. 5th place for Luke Varley and 6th place for Adrian Renadan as the top 6 cross the line for what's going to be the 6th time of Ask Him. On to lap number 7 with just under 5 to go. Piers Lehane again sets himself up for a move here through the left flick of turns 3 and 4, and what can he do down the back straight? He sits just over a tenth of a second back from our leader, who puts his head down. He goes for a move in towards the right-hander at turn 6, and he gets it done. What a move from Piers Lehane. The head came down from Luc Willems, but that didn't help him whatsoever as Piers Lehane drove through on the inside line. He gets himself now into the lead of the race. Luc Willems drops to 2nd, make that 3rd, make that 4th, because Brett Ward and also Dennis Mavlinov follow through in the sequence of hairpin corners, and look at that, the space of 2 or 3 corners, Luc Willems goes from the lead down to what's going to be 4th place.
And not only that, I'd say he's been put under pressure for 5th now as well. That's how quickly it can change, and he didn't really do anything drastically wrong. We were talking about these complexes just in front of us. That can only be all he did there. What he did wrong there was possibly get very, very slightly offline. That meant that Piers Lehane was able to take some extra speed down the straight into that turn number 6, and wow, didn't he make that stand? That was a very, very impressive move. Because of the fact that it was so late. We were told that if anyone's going to do it down that straight, they'll probably do it by 2/3 down that straight, not really into that corner, but he sure as heck did. He made the dive up the inside. It wasn't unnecessarily risky, it was clean, and now that he's got himself out there, look, he's actually managed to just start to pull away and keep going. Let's have a look as they come down towards us, turn 11 and then 12. So it is Piers Lehane in the lead from Brett Ward, kart 207. Dennis Mavlinov, Luc Willems sits in that 4th position, but Luke Varley, Adrian Renadan and Sam Marsh are desperately trying to close in on him. And Richard Verschoor, by the way, is now up to 12th position. And Luc Montfort, we'll just have a look, see where he is, 19th at the minute, because we've had a couple of good luck messages from Justin van der Schaft and JMP Racing, but he's got some work still to carry out there.
And what a move from Denis Mavlinov. He's just got himself up into second place, so really working hard is Denis, and a great drive from him from fourth on the grid. So he now moves ahead of Brett Ward, and Brett Ward just had to let that one go at turn number 2. And also moving through there looks to be Luke Verlelms. He has, yes, at the hairpin. Brett Ward fights back then at number 10, and he gets himself a side-by-side with Luke Verlelms down towards turns 11 and 12. He's going to be very tight through here for these 3 cars. Brett Ward's offline. He's going to lose a place to Luke Verlelms for sure. And the next man to try and come through is going to be Luke Varley in kart 215. What can Luke now do? Can he get a move done at turn 1? No, he can't. What about turn 2? If he's going to be late on the brakes, no, not there either. So Luke Varley now charging hard. Brett Ward is starting to suffer with the pace of this race, and he finds himself down in 4th place. But both great driving from Denis Mavlinov and Luke Verlelms. They took the opportunity to go through, and they get themselves into 2nd and 3rd places with a lap and a half now remaining.
I thought the all-blue kart, helmeted and overalled Adrian Renaudin 256 was about to cash in on that moment as well, but not quite. But look at them, they're absolutely joined together. Throw the proverbial handkerchief out and they will all get covered over with it in an instant. That's how close they are. But our leader coming through, about to start his final lap any second, is just managing to scamper off into the distance ever so slightly. 236, Denis Mavlinov is now in that second place, as we say. Actually, interestingly, that he was about a 10th quicker. So is he going to be able to get close enough to make a move on this final lap? It's going to be asking quite a lot of him, but he is putting in some times, but he would be out the back of the circuit. I think Piers Lehane may well have this one just about under control.
Yeah, he's doing a fairly good job. He's the man in second, Denis Mavlinov. But let's see if Piers Lehane then can hold on for the final few corners in this one. It was all about that move down at turn number 6. And of course, the man who he went past at the time, Luke Verlelms, left him plenty of room as well to get through. So Piers Lehane has charged on, the championship leader. He needs a victory here in the heats to give him the best possible position in the pre-final for tomorrow. He works his way through the final corner at turn 12, and it's going to be a win for Piers Lehane in the seniors here today. A great drive from Piers to get the move done. Second place after a sterling drive as well from 4th on the grid goes to Denis Mavlinov. Luke Verlelms, after starting on pole position, drops in the end down to 3rd place, and a few others that suffered towards the end. Brett Ward comes home in what's going to be 4th place. Luke Varley and Sam Marsh, again a good drive from Sam there in that race. He was 6th place in the end. He started 10th on the grid, and I'm sure he'll be happy with that to set him up for a good race for tomorrow as well. But there's just a few classifications for you in terms of the results and what kind of gaps we got as well. But Piers Lehane won in the end by 0.6 of a second ahead of Denis Mavlinov for the KR Sport team. Luke Verlelms, Brett Ward and Luke Varley, your top 5. We had Adrian Renaudin dropping down to 9th place, and Jean Ajar scraped inside the top 10. Look at that, Richard Verschoor into 11th place again from the back. He made up 50% of the places from his starting grid. We've got Harry Webb down in 14th place. He'll be right down on the grid for the pre-final to tomorrow. And also the man second in the championship, John Stewart, only coming home in 15th place. So a real disappointment for both of those today, and we'll see what they can come out and pull out the bag for tomorrow's senior races. But another cracking, entertaining race from the seniors, and one, of course, won by Piers Lehane, the championship leader. He'll be sitting strongly for the pre-final action tomorrow, and there'll be a few guys to watch out for as well after that race, really getting to grips with the circuit and that kart, and we'll see what the seniors deliver in the action tomorrow.